Life often surprises us with unexpected gifts. That's exactly what happens when Claudio Man, who seemed to have everything in Pedro, his son who carried sadness in his eyes, stumble upon Café de Vila and meet Patricia, a young woman full of dreams. What started with a dirty little teddy bear soon turned into a journey of rediscovery, honesty, and love, proving that true happiness can't be bought, only earned with the heart. In the days that followed, Claudio and Pedro became regular visitors at Café de Vila. They always chose a table near the counter, where they could watch Patricia work. Claudio observed her with quiet fascination. She moved with natural grace, greeting customers by name and remembering their orders by heart. The flower-streaked face and stained apron seemed like part of her personality, a symbol of her passion. Claudio was used to people wearing masks, but Patricia felt like the most genuine person he had ever met. One afternoon, while Pedro doodled on a napkin, Claudio took the risk of a deeper conversation. "Patricia, why don't you expand your cafe? I saw the sign on the door. People love what you created here." She gave a wistful smile, wiping her hands on her apron. "It's a dream, but reality is more complicated. The rent next door is too expensive, and the bank denied my loan request. They think a small neighborhood bakery isn't worth the investment." Claudio's chest tightened. It was the same struggle he had once seen Livia, the waitress from Cantinho do Sabor, go through. He wanted to say he could help, that the amount meant nothing to him, but he held back. He didn't want to break the magic of the moment or risk the fragile trust growing between them. Instead, he looked into her eyes and said softly, "I believe in you." That night, while Pedro slept hugging the mended teddy bear, Claudio did his research. He discovered Patricia's bakery was beloved in the neighborhood. She often helped those in need, donating bread to local charities. But he also found that her paperwork was a mess, and the bureaucracy stood in the way of any financial support. A week later, while Claudio and Pedro were at Café de Vila, a man in a suit walked in with a briefcase and went straight to the counter. From the inspection department. He said, "We received a report of irregularities in your documents." Patricia turned pale. "That can't be. I'm doing everything I can to fix it." The man cut her off. "I don't care. If the paperwork isn't in order within 48 hours, well, shut this place down." Pedro, who overheard, clung to Patricia's leg. "You can't leave, Patricia," he cried, his voice desperate. Claudio felt a wave of anger. He rose, walked calmly to the counter, and looked the inspector in the eye. "Sir, I think you're mistaken. This bakery is a gift to the community. Tell me exactly what the issue is. I guarantee it will be resolved." The inspector glared at him. "And who are you?" "Just a concerned father. And please, give me your business card." His voice carried an authority he hadn't used in years. Hesitant, the inspector handed over the card and left without another word. Patricia turned to Claudio, confused but grateful. "Who are you, really? You seem like you." Claudio cut her off. "I'm Pedro's father, and the person who gave me hope by caring for my son. That's what matters most." From that day on, their lives became entwined in ways no one could have predicted. With Claudio's support, the bakery was expanded. Café de Vila became warmer and more welcoming, with new tables and a bigger counter. Patricia's dream, once impossible, was becoming reality, and her happiness was impossible to hide. Her relationship with Claudio blossomed too. Conversations that once revolved around a teddy bear and cheese bread now turned into talks about plans and dreams. Claudio spent afternoons at the cafe with Pedro, helping where he could, but most importantly, simply being present. For the first time in years, he felt free of the weight he had carried. Patricia, in turn, saw beyond the stern expression and expensive suits. She saw the vulnerability of a father who would do anything to see his son happy. Pedro was living proof that their bond was real. The boy, once lost in his own world, now laughed, played, and talked more than ever. He became the bakery's official helper, wearing a tiny apron and happily getting his hands in the dough. He loved telling customers how Patricia had fixed his teddy bear and, in doing so, had also fixed his life. One afternoon, a couple in business attire walked into the bakery. The woman, elegant but dismissive, looked around with disdain. The man smiled at Claudio with forced politeness. They were Leonardo and Helena, his business partners. Claudio, What on earth are you doing here? Leonardo asked with mockery. We've been looking all over the city for you, and we find you in some little bakery? Claudio felt his blood boil. He knew his partners thought of him as eccentric. Helena, spotting Pedro, added cruelly, So this is why you disappeared? Playing house in a bakery with this boy? We have a company to run. Patricia, who overheard, saw Claudio's discomfort. She walked over and said, calm but firm, Excuse me, but this is my business. If you don't have anything kind to say, I suggest you leave. Helena laughed scornfully. And who are you? Claudio's little girlfriend? In case you didn't know, he's one of the richest men in this city. Sweetheart, you have no idea who you're talking to. Her words struck Patricia like a blow. One of the richest men in the city? The truth Claudio had hidden was suddenly exposed. She looked at him, and for the first time, saw a stranger. The man who had presented himself as a simple father was in fact someone with enough money to buy anyone's life. Claudio saw the hurt in her eyes. The mask was gone. Patricia, please, let me explain. But she cut him off. No, don't. I just need some time. Please leave. Her voice was cold. The distance between them was more painful than any words. Claudio and Pedro left the bakery, leaving behind a cloud of sadness and doubt. That night, Patricia couldn't get Helena's words out her head. One of the richest men in the city. They echoed endlessly, turning Claudio's kindness into something that felt fake. She looked around at her beautiful, expanded bakery and wondered, was this dream really hers or just something else Claudio had bought? The hurt was deep, and seeing Pedro's sadness broke her heart. Claudio couldn't sleep either. He felt like a liar, crushed by the pain in Patricia's eyes. Money had always been a wall between him and true connection. It had pushed friends away, destroyed his family, and turned his life into a gilded cage. With Patricia, he thought he could finally just be Claudio's father, Pedro. But the truth had surfaced, as it always does. Pedro cried into his teddy bear, heartbroken. He didn't understand why his father, the person he loved most, had lied. Betrayal was a new and painful feeling. The next morning, Claudio woke up with a decision. He had to make things right. Dressed in his finest suit, the armor of his old life, he went to the bakery. He found Patricia at the counter, her face tired and sad. The air between them was heavy. I don't want your help, Claudio, she said softly. The bakery is beautiful, but if I can't be happy here without living a lie, then it's not worth it. He knew money couldn't fix this. Money was the problem. Slowly, he removed the suit jacket, the cufflinks, everything that made him a stranger in her eyes. Dressed simply, he looked at her and spoke with his heart. Patricia, I have no excuse for what I did. I'm sorry. I know a person's trust is something you can't buy. The truth is, my wealth isolated might made me a ghost in my own life. I just want to be Claudio, Pedro's father. I wanted you to like me for who I am, not for what I have. She listened, but the pain in her eyes lingered. So you lied. You made me believe you were just a regular man, when in reality, you're a millionaire. I know. My mistake wasn't the money, it was hiding the truth. I love you, Patricia, and the one thing I cannot do is buy you. I want to earn your love. I want to be part of your life, your bakery, and if you let me, your family. But I need you to give me a chance. Her eyes filled with tears. She saw the same pain she carried reflected in his. She saw the man who had fixed Pedro's teddy bear, the man who made her laugh, the man who behind the facade of wealth was simply a father desperate for happiness. The decision is yours, Claudio said, voice trembling. It'll wait. Patricia was torn. The lie had shaken her trust, but her feelings for him were real. And Pedro, a boy she cared for deeply, needed him too. Slowly, she leaned in and kissed him, a kiss full of sincerity and emotion. Claudio, I need you to promise me one thing. No more secrets. From now on, everything between us must be honest. He kissed her back and pulled her into his arms. I promise, and it'll prove my love to you every single day. At that moment, the bakery door opened. Pedro walked in, teddy bear in hand. He looked at them and grinned. Dad, Patricia, you kissed. Does that mean you love each other? They exchanged a glance and answered together, "Yes, Pedro, we love each other." The teddy bear, once a symbol of Pedro's loneliness and sorrow, had now become a symbol of love and hope. The story of Patricia, Claudio, and Pedro, born from a simple teddy bear, had turned into the story of a family who, despite their differences, found love and happiness. Their story teaches us that true happiness doesn't come from what we have, but from who we are. It shows us that honesty and sincerity are the foundation of any real relationship. When Claudio finally revealed himself completely, he allowed love to grow free from the weight of lies. This story invites us to reflect on our own lives. What are you hiding that may be holding back your happiness? What do you need to fix in your life in order to move forward? Remember, one small act of kindness can change someone's world, and one act of courage can transform your own life. If this story and its reflections touch your heart, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss more stories like this one. Together, we can build a world that's more honest, sincere, and full of love.